Ayo, welcome into CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get two risk free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, the host of CHGO White Sox postgame show. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is our full crew. We got Vinnie Duber joining us on the far left. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He is the CHGO White Sox CHGO White Sox writer.
What's happening over there?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was going to say post-game writer. You do a lot more than just writing about the post-game.
Sometimes I write pre-game.
That's true.
Yeah.
And in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. I think the thing is, Vinny, I'm just so excited because the White Sox won. They won 2-1 tonight against Colorado. And for the first time since May 25th, the White Sox are above 500. We can at least revel in it for the next.
Oh, I assumed balloons were going to fall from the sky.
Steven, did we not get balloons?
Did we not order the balloons?
We weren't expecting a win after their recent 500 record.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay. All
Sixth
right.
try? Is that what it was?
What's that?
How many times in a row they swung and missed at the getting over 500?
5 in a row.
All right,
Yeah, 5 times.
So this would have been 6.
So,
Okay.
But it wasn't.
there you
But
go.
It wasn't.
wasn't.
You're right.
And the Twins lost. So this is a huge day for the White Sox. Herb, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, wins are better than losses. This game was sloppy by the Colorado Rockies. The White Sox executed on defense. Offensively, a little bit left to be desired, but it goes into the left column, so that's what the White Sox need. Wins over piss-poor teams. The Colorado Rockies allowed the White Sox to win this game. Little concerned about Liam, but they got the dub, though.
Yeah.
Hey, this goes to show you what happens when the defense is good, right? When the defense is solid. We've talked so much about, the offense getting back to normal or getting back to what was expected could cover up a lot of things. Well, that goes for other phases, too. And when the defense is good, it covers up a lot of other things, like leaving guys on base and maybe not cashing in. This was a very unexpected result tonight, given the setting of Coors Field. But, hey, you'll take it when if you're the White Sox, when the defense does what they did tonight.
Yeah, I think there was a couple times where Jason Benetti was really looking for the quirkiness of the low-scoring part of this game. One of them saying, hey, an AL team's only shut out the Colorado Rockies, I think, 5 times. And then Liam Hendricks, I think, on the next pitch, gives up a home run to get rid of the shutout. It was an odd
Ruining
one.
Benetti's storyline.
Yes, he was looking for some quirk in the stat line. I don't know how many 2-1 games have happened in Colorado, but I know Chris Campo will figure it out. You mentioned the defense, though. 4 double plays turned by the White Sox. Real phenomenal. The White Sox get into a jam. Michael Kopech does in the bottom of the second. Bases were loaded, and he gets a ground out into a double play. It was a great job by TA. And then another one again in the fifth inning. Bryant grounded into a double play, another great turn to end the inning. Then in the 6th inning, another double play to end the inning. And then in the 7th inning, another double play to end the inning. So the White Sox were getting into some jams. I think it was White Sox Tom saying Joe Kelly almost blows it again. They get out with a double play. Jimmy Lambert gets out of it with a double play. Michael Kopech gets out of it twice with a double play. Not what we're used to from this team, Herb, but we'll take it on nights like this, especially when they're getting over 500.
Yeah, and the defense looked great. They were awesome today. And that is a skill to induce ground ball double plays, especially in a place where the air is thin and they usually hit the ball in the air. So, yes, they got themselves into those troubles. Michael Kopech there with the bases loaded, but inducing ground ball, that's not a, just happenstance. That happens because they're trying to get that ground ball double play, and you saw that Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu were involved in each one of those 4 ground ball double plays there. So defense really played a big-time part and needed part in this victory because the offense, man, sometimes you just, like, Herman Marquez is not that great, but he looked like a Cy Young Award winner, and I didn't necessarily like the hustle coming out of the box. And I know they've been put on this thing by the trainers, don't give 100%. I think balls hit the ground on a drop third, at least jog the first. Force the throw.
Was there players
there was
specifically?
At least 4 times. Abreu twice, Tim Anderson once, and I forgot the fourth guy. That didn't run after the ball hit the ground clearly and just surrendered themselves to the catcher to tag them. I was like, I get it, but also it's a mindset. It's a mentality that you have to fight for every out. Don't just give it to them. allow them to throw the ball to first base, and maybe they make a mistake because you've seen the Rockies make plenty of mistakes today with their defensive players.
Yeah, and I mean, I did see a decent amount of effort. I mean, there was one play where I was surprised where Aloy even went to third. He got on a first base and even went to third base, so I was surprised to see that. We didn't see Yasmani Grandal go from first to home on a single, but I don't think that was injury
second
related.
to home.
Oh, was it second to home?
Yes.
That was first to home.
No, there was the double that he was on first for that Pollock hit that anybody else in the world would have scored on. But he got the third. And then he was on second base, and then Lurie hits an opposite field single that makes the left fielder go almost to the line, and Yasmani's on third. It's not because Yasmani's not trying. That's what Yasmani's speed is.
I was thinking about the top of the second. So in the top of the
Pollock
fourth,
double, yeah.
Yeah, after Pollock scored, or after Pollock grounded into a fielder's choice, and then Grandal was safe on the air. That's when Garcia singled, then Grandal moved to third. But yeah, the Pollock double in the second is where Herb thought he could beat Yasmani Grandal in a race.
And you saw the video. And now the tweet that I sent out, do you think I could beat Yasmani Grandal in a race? My people are with me.
77% people
When's the
think
last-
that you can beat Yasmani
It's still
Grandal in
open.
a race.
When's the last time you were in a race? You were involved in a race?
The race? Like high school?
Actually, I got a picture of it right here. There he is.
It's Herb Bolt Lawrence.
Why would I still my head off?
You look good in green and
I
yellow.
should take my head off.
You should. That's aerodynamic problems there, yeah.
It's a great freeze frame of you as well. I mean, way to look into the camera
Good
while
angle.
running.
Good angle.
It is.
You got.
I'm kind of a dick too. Like I switched countries. I've never been to that country.
You look good in green and yellow though.
Thank you, sir.
Black, green, and yellow fit you well. Yeah, I mean, you're just like
arms are
Yoan
nice
Moncada
and-
with the yellow.
Yeah, my arms are nice and defined. That's nice.
That's what I'm saying. They got you at a good angle there.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Like
I feel like you'd be like Jerry Seinfeld, by the way, too. Like in the race, I mean, like that.
Never
This
seen
is what it's oh, okay. All right. Well, sorry.
I choose not to run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, he hasn't raced since high school, too. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jerry hadn't raced that guy since high school. So it's just setting up for you to cheat your way to beating Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah. I just wanted him to work on his running. Maybe he's still got something wrong with his knee, his hamstrings, a piano on his back, whatever he's got. He's slow as hell. Vinny doesn't think I could beat him.
I don't. And that's more of just saying, like, yes, he's the slowest professional athlete, but he's still a professional athlete.
Right.
Like, I've seen him, when you see him run not in the context of your, you get used to seeing guys run the bases in baseball, and then when you see Yaz, you're like, oh, that's slower than everybody else does it. When you see him running not in the context of that, he looks more normal. Like, we've seen him run in the outfield, warming up before games and stuff like that, and it looks more like, oh, there's a guy running, not just like, who's that man running through quicksand through the along the bases. So I think Yaz is, no offense to the guy, he's not as fast as his teammates.
No.
Who are all professional baseball players. I think he's probably faster than a lot of people who are not professional baseball
It's a good
players.
bunch to be the slowest of.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to be, bemoaning the man's speed. He had a great day with the bat. What was he, 3 for 4 today?
3 hits, yeah.
Yeah, he had a great day. So you don't need to run if you just hit the ball with the fence, hit the ball in front of the people in the outfield, let the other people drive you in after that. It'll take station to station, but eventually we'll get there.
That's what they call pulling a Bowie in the business.
Pulling a what?
Pulling a Bowie.
Going station
Going
to station.
station to station.
Yeah,
I get it now.
And two with Grandal. I mean, I get it. There's no RBIs for him. There's no runs scored for him. So I get you bemoaning the 3 for 4 day because he didn't get home on that one AJ Pollock double. I get it. And hey, we can actually figure out if you're faster than Yasmani Grandal because Statcast has the 90 feet splits. So Yasmani Grandal runs 90 feet in 4.77 seconds.
All right.
So Steven,
Let's get a stopwatch.
what I would like you to do is, yes, get a stopwatch and a ruler and measure out 90 feet so Herb can run.
I'm not doing it
Out of the
inside.
offense.
I'll do
You're
that. I
gonna
wanna
make him
be-
do it in the alley
I want to be
outside.
on record. Herb is he's gonna outrun him.
We're
think
gonna
that-
I'm on team.
We're
Herb
gonna get
all
some
the way.
sidewalk chalk, right? And we're gonna draw the start and the finish line out in the alley. We're gonna film it, and there we go.
90 feet's a long way, Herb.
Done it before.
You can run it
played
in under.
baseball
In less than
before.
5 seconds.
Probably. We'll see.
Oh,
right.
boy. All right.
It's not
so,
40 yards, is it?
So you're saying over. No, it's not
Under.
40 yards.
Okay,
but
I'm saying I run like a 40 and like almost 6.
It's 30 yards, right?
It's 30 yards.
Yeah, so I cut a second off. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm saying no. Vinny's saying no. You're clearly saying yes. Steven, I guess, is saying yes.
Steven's with me.
Resounding yes.
Okay, and then 77% of Twitter also thinks Herb will.
Here we go. This is big stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be a big thing that you're doing tomorrow.
Make sure you wear athletic clothing.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, stretch. Yeah, we're going to do it tomorrow in the daylight. We're going to be here when there's good sun to film in the alley.
All right, we'll see.
We'll see.
No, I'm going to do it, but I'll see if I can win. Yeah.
All right. Yikes. All right, we'll see. Let's talk about Michael Kopech. Herb isn't challenging Michael Kopech today, so I guess it's a safe topic to talk about. Let's look at Michael Kopech's stats today. 5 1/3 innings, no earned runs allowed, 6 hits, 3 walks surrendered, and 4 Ks. German Marquez on the other bump. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Did you just say Cy Young stuff from German Marquez?
No, they made him look as such. He was just
He looked all right.
like the Tim Anderson initial at bat where the ball is before home plate. I understand that it's a tough at bat, especially with the guy throwing upper 90s, but that ball hit before the plate and he's flailing like that. It's weird. The guy came in with the 5+ ERA, 5.5+ ERA, and the White Sox made him look comfortable, feel comfortable at the crib where they're scoring 11 runs per game. So yes, we did get the victory, but the first one was a gift because the Colorado Rockies can't pick the ball up and throw the ball to second to get a slow Yasmani Grandal out, and then subsequently throw out, I think it was AJ Pollock, and then we got the rocket double by Yoan Moncada to give us the actual earned run that we got in that game. So I expect more. I expected more out of this game. Off of German Marquez, the offense didn't show up as I wanted them to. Or at least they showed up, but they didn't execute as they always do on runners in scoring position.
Right, yeah, they absolutely didn't execute. I can't push back on that. He had runners on base in every single inning. He got bailed out by 2 double plays, which, obviously helped him. But, 2 for 10, the White Sox were with runners in scoring position. That's not good. 0 for 1 for Engel, 0 for 1 for Abreu. Vaughn was 0 for 1. Anderson 0 for 2. Moncada with a huge double. He was 1 for 2. Garcia drove in that first run for the Sox as well. And Pollock went 0 for 1.
That was Pollock. It wasn't driven in. It was Garcia with the hit to the left that
okay, so Grandal was in scoring position. That's on me. So, yeah, I still, or not, yeah, Pollock had the RBI. That's his 32nd of the year. Still frustrating, though, with the Sox and their inability to drive guys in. We talked about their inability to hit with the bases loaded as well. They had the 26th worst weighted runs created plus with the bases loaded this year. Luis Robert hit their first grand slam just not too long ago. What's the issue, or what's the way the White Sox can solve this? Because clearly the execution hasn't been great. They win 49-48. We'll take all the positives that we can, but the home run ball wasn't here today. Not a lot of extra base hits. What's the main issue with this team?
I don't know. Like, it's been going on throughout the season, so I don't know if it's organizational or they just – I don't feel like choke is the right word, because then I would have to espouse that people step up to the plate at the same time. I just think it's the absence of them bearing down at those times and not coming through. I don't know what the metrics are as far as hard hit, but it seems like there's strikeout more times when the bases are loaded than at other times, and it's just not the execution that is needed right then. Sometimes bat on ball is just what you need. You saw with the Pollock RBI right there. It looked like a double play, but some teams like the Colorado Rockies are going to kick the ball around a little bit more. White Sox need to focus and execute more on driving the ball up in the air, especially with under 2 outs, and get at least 1 run in, because they're much more powerful than they've shown this year with bases loaded. You said Luis Roberts the only guy with a grand slam this year. That's ridiculous. We're almost in August.
Well, it could be the opposite too. I mean, you're saying guys need to bear down. It could very well be the opposite, where they're trying to do too much, where it's like, here you go, here are the bases loaded, here's the chance to break the dam that has been, plugging up the offense all year long, and everybody's trying to hit a 6-run homer at one time, and it's just not working. And so that's the kind of thing that could be there too. What do you see too usually when you're in those clutch situations? See guys fouling off a lot of pitches, being on top of guys. Obviously, the White Sox have not seen the ball very well this season at all. Not a lot of long at bats at all from them as they try to show their aggression and their ability to do that too. So it's probably a number of things, and it's probably, perhaps the best or perhaps the easiest explanation is the right one, and that it's just like baseball flukiness sometimes. But certainly there's a lot of different things that are going into that, and it's been a big problem because those are the chances that you got to capitalize on. It could have cost them the game today when, they had the bases loaded with one out at one point, and they didn't get any more runs after scoring that initial run on the error that you talked about.
Right, and I think it's a good point you bring up about them pressing. Their K rate jumps about 8%. With the bases loaded, they're around 20%, 20.4%, which is 26 in the major leagues, just all around with no runners on, just standard stats. With the bases loaded, they are 5th in strikeout percentage at 28.7%. They also lead, not shockingly, they lead the league in ground ball rate when it comes to the bases loaded, 55.8%. So not only are they hurting themselves because ground balls usually don't turn into hits, but usually you hit on the ground, and as we saw today, double plays happen, So, I mean, this isn't the fastest team. They struggle turning, with like Yasmani Grandal today, guys going first to home. That's a difficult thing for them to do. Going first to third is something that they try to do. They're not the fastest, fleetest foot of teams, so I think that's part of the struggles with the White Sox. What's up, Nathan Sheba with the super chat? $10 super chat. Appreciate Nathan. He said, Vinny, may I bother you for your read on the clubhouse, please, as we enter the final third of the season. So Nathan asking with the whole Bob Nightingale stuff that came out, we kind of talked about it. You wrote about it in your article as well. Why don't you give Nathan a little precursor into the clubhouse here, heading into the final latter third of the season?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. And this will be no surprise to you as Sean rubs his face woefully over there. Listen, when they win, it looks really good, right? I mean, and so some positive vibes there from the way that they finished the second half, and certainly the way they finished that series against Cleveland over the weekend. You're seeing a much more joyous bunch. I think, winning cures all ills, so to speak. Not that there were a ton of ills, I would say, but the frustration that stemmed from losing and being disappointing certainly was noticeable. And I think that is going to be the case on any sort of team that fails to live up to their own expectations, that fails to kind of get done what they wanted to get done. I think you saw some frustration. And when people were talking about, oh, where's this fun-loving team? Why do they look so dead all the time? Why are they not the same guys that we've seen in years past? Well, they were losing, and you're not going to see a bunch of guys yucking it up in the dugout when they're losing. You're probably not going to see Eloy Jimenez cover his face in masking tape for some reason when they're losing, as you did tonight. But certainly winning helps. The overall thing, I do not believe that there were, or let's put it this way, I did not observe these problems that were rumored. Everybody has nothing but great things to say about Tony La Russa, which is certainly not the case in the fan base, I understand. But when you talk to the players, they are disappointed that they are upset that they hear the Fire Tony chants that have been happening at Guaranteed Rate Field. They know that it's on them to make Tony look a little better and make his decisions look a little better because they're the ones who have not been able to produce. So any frustration, any discontent was certainly stemming from the results. I see a bunch of guys who are focused on throwing away a result and moving in the next day, try to get back to normal and back to where they were. I see a lot of guys who are have a positive approach. I see a lot of laughing, a lot of joking, and it's not to say that everything is sunshine and rainbows, because this is a team that we're just talking about today, getting back over 500 for the first time since before Memorial Day. That will weigh on you if your job is to, be the opposite of that. But if you want my read on the clubhouse, what I have observed is a lot of the same guys who act very much the same way before the game starts, and then if the result does not go the way that they want it to, which has obviously happened a lot more than anybody thought it would this season, they're going to change their mood from what it was a few hours earlier.
Well, and shout out to Daniel Stack, who keeps basically just sends in a follow-up chat with the super chat. He said, did the bad clubhouse chemistry story help this team a lot? They look like a different team the last couple of weeks. Should we be thanking Dallas Keuchel? And shout out to newly acquired Texas Ranger Dallas Keuchel. I don't know if this team is been helped by the story. It really doesn't feel like anything has looked different from this team. They've won, but I don't know if that's really them clicking or them rallying around this story. It just feels like something that was building already. I mean, since June 9th, this is the team that scored the second most runs in Major League Baseball. So it's not like it hasn't come just since July 8th when the supposed Kenny meeting talked.
And I think, too, that this has probably been what have we done all year long, right? We've looked for this
right.
mythical turning point, right? It's probably more like a slow climb out of the pit that they were in before, right? Mm-hmm. And so you bring up being better over time. You bring up, they're getting better, but they're still not there yet. Guys, we're still talking about a team that is basically 500, which is what they've been basically all year long. It is not like there has been some great awakening. I think these guys have been the same all year long. I think they're getting healthier, and I think they're playing a little bit better. They're going to have to play significantly better if they want to do anything close to what they wanted to do at the start of the season. That being said, playing a little bit better makes you as good as the Minnesota Twins,
right.
And they're only 3 games out of first place. So I don't think that this team needed to have a kick in the ass necessarily. I think they needed to play better. They're playing a little bit better, and you might, by the time we get to the end of September, let's say, see a team that is playing much better than they were in May, let's say, or April or May or early June, when everything was the sky is falling. It might not be super noticeable as that's the day that it happened and that's the day it all turned around. It's just they're getting a little bit better.
And I don't necessarily think that, getting rid of a bad clubhouse player really, invigorates a team to play better, but always getting rid of a person that you think is a negative influence in the clubhouse is probably a thing. Oh God, we don't have to hear Dallas talk about this is not a championship lineup. This is not a championship clubhouse. All that shit he's talking about when he gets in here from Houston. It's like, I get it. You're from Houston. You and Kendall Graveman come on here and talking about the clubhouse culture. Cool, I get it, and I appreciate it, brother. But also, you're in this clubhouse now. You just bring it into us. Don't talk down to us as if we're not professionals like you are. And you've seen Dallas Keuchel go out to Arizona and become Dallas Keuchel again, and he's a Texas Rangers minor leaguer. He's probably going to become Dallas Keuchel. Hopefully, April 4th through the 7th, the White Sox go down to Arlington. Hopefully, he starts one of those games.
Well, I think it's funny, too, that we were just saying, the White Sox are back over 500 for the first time since May 25th. Dallas Keuchel was DFA'd on May 28th. Making connections.
Correlation, causation.
They haven't looked. I seem to remember a lot of post-game shows between the end of May and now where things were very bad and Dallas Keuchel had nothing to do with it.
I will be doing some math here because I am the math guy on the podcast and see what the White Sox record is without Dallas Keuchel. It's probably really good, right? I think it's probably around 500.
Probably around 500.
It's probably around 500. All right, well, let's...
If they were at 500 at the 25th and we're kind of one game above 500, they're probably one game above 500.
They cut them loose on the 28th, and they were 22-23, so they're probably exactly at 500 since they're one game above 500. There you go. So Dallas Keuchel didn't change much on this team. The best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from a CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we will help you out. And PointsBet's your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. If you see an edge in the game you're watching, if your favorite team is primed for a comeback, if your team recently designated Dallas Keuchel for assignment, don't just watch the game. Bet along with it live. That didn't make any sense. There's more live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs.
I don't think the Arizona Diamondbacks are using this app, are they?
No. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. I don't know about Illinois, but online sign-up is now available in Illinois. I don't know about Arizona, but online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register all from your phone. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-522-4700 for crisis counseling and referral services. And our next partner, Owen, Bears training camp just started, guys.
It did.
Justin
who?
Fields.
The Bears?
The Bears. Justin Fields is their quarterback. I don't know if you heard about him. He follows a plant-based diet.
This is the Arlington Heights team we're
Yes.
talking about?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the team in Arlington Heights. I heard they're putting a dome on the one that's going to be vacated. That joke bombed. Owen is a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All of their products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly. There's no gluten or dairy, and they're easily digestible. Again, this is Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields, who follows a plant-based diet. When he's running around on Sundays, he is energizing and refueling with Owen. He is using this 100% plant-based protein shake. You got vanilla, you got chocolate, you got salted caramel, you got strawberry banana. I've used it when I am, moving my apartment back and forth over the past month. It gave me a great boost of energy. When Justin Fields is, facing 3rd and 17, he's probably thinking about an Owen, thinking about the energy that he needs.
Got him 3rd and 17.
3rd and 17,
Course, a couple sacks here or there. That's why Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. That's LIVEOWYN.com. With code CHGO20, you can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. So join me and Justin Fields and try Owen. It is only what you need. All right, we didn't talk about Michael Kopech. I said, let's read his stats, and then I read them, and then we talked about German Marquez and went on a tangent. But let's go to Michael Kopech, because today he went 5 1/3 innings. He allowed 6 hits, 3 walks, struck out 4, and allowed no earned runs. Got bailed out by those double plays. I thought it was interesting that Tony, he was around 88 pitches. He still threw him out there for 2 batters in the 6th inning there. Got 1 out and then was pulled for Jimmy Lambert. What are our thoughts here with Michael Kopech? Because it seems like the White Sox might be looking to add a starter, but it also feels like Michael Kopech is still getting free reign. Is still, can still get close to 100 pitches. I know, but
my point being, I don't know if you need to call it free reign. Free reign makes it seem like it's like, all right, do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think this is part of the plan, and they're watching him and they're observing that he's fine. You know what I mean? I think if they were to see any sort of flaws, they would pull back very much so. I think you've got a game tonight. He wasn't outrageously impressive from the way that he usually is, which is blowing guys away, right? Mm-hmm. But what do we always talk about? A pitcher developing, a pitcher evolving into somebody who can pitch instead of just throw, really, really fast. He used his defense tonight, and that's great job. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do on a night when you don't have it. We saw him with the walks. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he didn't have it at all, but on a night where he's not doing his typical thing, to use your defense and be able to have a scoreless performance at a place like Coors Field, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't think that he is going anywhere in terms of him getting kicked out of the rotation because of this management plan. I think this is the management plan in action. And no, they're not expecting to have him go out there and throw 180 or 200 innings, but they want him to be strong for the end of the year. And maybe the best way to do that is to make sure that he can get in a rhythm, that you're not just giving him a disjointed schedule in the way that he's pitching. I don't know if, but again, too, they can use the schedule to their advantage and buy him extra days here and there, but it doesn't mean that he needs to be skipped every single time around and that he's always got 10 days of rest in between. So we saw what they did with Carlos Rodon last year, and I think that's probably a good template to go off of, because it's not like he was, it's not like it was like, all right, well, we need to find somebody because Rodon's not pitching this turn through the rotation. It was just using the schedule creatively and making sure that he could still be there. So I think you'll probably see a similar thing over the next 2 months. The idea that they would put him in the bullpen seems to be a total non-starter. The idea that they would, shut him down in some way seems to be very not going to happen. So no, they're not taking the idea of getting a starting pitcher off the table, and certainly that would be some great insurance at the very least. But I think Michael Kopech he's here. He's part of this rotation, and they're hoping that he can pitch in the playoffs if they are fortunate enough to make it there.
Well, so my point was more about the pitch count and the fact that it was already near 80. Usually
like
that's when guys get taken out. So I thought that was just interesting that they let him roll. But I do want to go into the Carlos Rodon plan that you talked about. So he gets injured in July and then makes 2 starts in August and then only 4 starts in September. He had what I think of 15, 18 innings pitched in September over 4 starts.
And he was falling apart too. You'll remember. I think that then it seemed like that was just him completely running out of gas.
Yep.
But some of those outings, he was, it was 3-4 innings and he was out of there.
It felt like the plan changed though because he did run out of gas, and it felt like it was somewhat abruptly Rodon running out of gas. Because looking at it, I thought it was Milwaukee where he started looking a little bit iffy. He ended up being, I think, fully shut down in some way after the July 29th start. Then didn't pitch until August 7th, and then didn't pitch until August 26th. So what was the Rodon plan like, especially after late July, and how do you see that possibly being put towards Kopech's plan?
Yeah, and it definitely – I don't want to say that the plan changed, but the circumstances changed, obviously, because he went on the IL. He had an injury, right? It was that we were talking about, and it – he barely pitched in 2020 during that shortened season. Obviously had the injury history before and including that season. What they did was they just tried to buy him as much time as they could, and you were seeing him have really good success on 8 days rest, on 6 or 7 days rest, and it was working. And so they tried to keep doing that. You saw toward the end of the year him run out of gas, and I would say this is the difference between Rodon and Kopech, and not that they were treating them wildly different, but Rodon was maybe not going to be part of their future. You know what I mean? There was a different balancing act that they were doing. Mm-hmm. They were trying to get Carlos Rodon to keep being the guy who was going to be a top 5 Cy Young finisher to help them win the division and help them win the playoffs. There wasn't this other goal, mostly because he had been pitching in the major leagues for however many years already, but there wasn't this other goal of make sure he's going to be a guy who can go 180, 200 innings in 2023, which is a goal currently with Michael Kopech. They want to make sure that he's helping them this year, but he's going to be an even bigger part of the rotation next year and the year after that. And I mean, they've got him under control for so long. He is a big part of the future, and he is still developing into the guy that they want him to be. So it is something that isn't going to be exactly mirrored. You know what I mean? Certainly if there's signs of trouble, they're going to react accordingly. But that is kind of the idea, is that they're going to keep their eye on him very closely, be it the front office, be it Ethan Katz and the coaching staff, and say, we're going to monitor every little bit of what happens with you, and we're going to make the best determination. Kopech, they want him to start in October, and I don't think the key to doing that is, all right, you get 3 starts after the All-Star break, and then you got to sit down, and we'll call you back up at the end of the year. Like, that's not the way to accomplish that in my mind. And so it definitely is possible that they could go get a starting pitcher here before the trade deadline, absolutely, but it's not going to be to replace Michael Kopech. It is going to be in addition to.
We'll get into the strategy of what they might do and who they might be looking at. But Herb, just in this game specifically, were you surprised to see him go out in the 6th inning? And I liked Tony, once he got a base runner on, he pulled him. Right? So, you didn't see Kopech in any more stressful situations. Did you like Tony giving him a little bit of a leash there in that 6th?
I initially thought it was no question he was coming out for the 6th. I think it was 82 pitches. We finished with the 5th, and then Stoney comes on. He's giving his final line. I'm like, all right, I guess so.
And here comes Jimmy Lambert.
Yeah, and then, the inning starts, and it's Kopech who's starting the inning. And, he gets the first guy out and then gives up a single, and then Tony with the quick hook. Probably told him, hey, man, you give up any base runners, I'm taking you out. You can get through clean, you can go through the 6th. I like that. Give a little faith to your pitcher, your starting pitcher, who pitched today, who's learning how to pitch. This is a tough atmosphere. This is the first time, I believe, being in Coors Field to pitch a start like real. Mm-hmm. And he's probably heard all the stories, probably feeling the light air up there to get through that game with bases loaded and all the times where he was in trouble and didn't have his good stuff. See Chris Bryant just fouling off balls versus him. He's not getting anybody out. He wasn't striking a lot of people out. I think he finished with 4 and walked 3. So this is the maturation. This is kind of like what Dylan Cease had to go through, I think 2019 and 2020, where he would be filthy and then run into that 1 inning and then just suck. And the train would go off the tracks and he would suck for the rest of the game. And hat tip to Jordan Lazowski for that type of thought. He put that in a tweet. He's kind of going through that maturation of This is my full year. I need to know how to get guys out without great stuff, and also they're falling off all the stuff that I think is great. They were just, 96, he was back up to his velocity like he was at the start before the All-Star game. So not a great start, a good start. When you get zeros up on the board, that is what it's all about. Sometimes results trump the process because of where you're at, what the person is, and now he can feel a little bit more confident going into his next start. He's like, okay, I went to Colorado, a team that usually scores such and such amount of runs. They got none against me. Yeah, I'm good.
I think Jordan's connection between Cease and Kopech is interesting. The issue that I just find with it, or the thing with Kopech, is he really hasn't done this as a starter. He hasn't been a true starter in the major or minor league since 2018. So him getting into the sixth inning, Dylan was getting into the sixth inning. He just wasn't getting the results that he wanted, and he started finding it more and more. I think Kopech's trying to get to the sixth inning, and then once he's able to feel comfortable enough getting through 6 innings, then it's about adding on and making sure that he's following the right sequences and he's working on his mechanics. I think it's all about surviving those 6 innings, which he's done a great job at. Let's look at the pitch mix, because I was surprised at his stuff and how it played in Colorado. I thought it was going to be a little bit more affected by the air, but it wasn't. He throws 58 fastballs today. 64% of his pitches were fastballs. Threw 31 sliders. 34% of his pitches were sliders today. He got 9 whiffs on his fastball. That's 29%. That's a lot more than I thought, and I think that's mainly because of the velocity that you talked about, Herb. His yearly average is 94.6 miles per hour. His yearly average today, his yearly average was 94.9 miles per hour. His average today was 94.6 miles per hour. So basically at his average fastball velocity today, and that fastball got great results, 20 called strikes plus whiffs, so he was in the zone consistently with his fastball. He was missing bats with his fastball 29% of the time, and he was not allowing hard hits. 91.4% mile per hour average exit velocity for Colorado hitters, so the ball wasn't getting smoked off of Kopech at all, and his break was there. All of StatCast's breaks stats said that he was basically above average at average today with all of his pitches. So, the stuff was good, and I think that's the difference between him and Cease. Cease has now found a pitch that works for him. It's the slider. Michael Kopech has these 2 great pitches that are clearly working for him, even when he doesn't have the velocity and he doesn't have that great break. Today, he didn't have the great control that I think he needs to, but everything else was really good from Michael Kopech, and it is encouraging to see. So let's expand a little bit on this starter conversation, because the name Jose Quintana has been thrown out. We talked about it, I think, on Friday, that Vinnie Parise of Southside Showdown mentioned that the White Sox were in talks with the Pirates for Jose Quintana, and this is from Robert Murray of Fansided as well. He had a note section where he noted left-hander Jose Quintana is drawing interest from the New York Yankees and Chicago White Sox, among other sources. Says another potential fit would be the Blue Jays, but maybe Quintana could shift back into a bullpen role, a role he thrived in with San Francisco in 2021. So the idea is that the White Sox are interested in old friend Jose Quintana. So maybe the idea of getting Kopech those 8 days of rest or those 7 days of rest is what they end up doing, and Quintana can possibly replace Vince Velasquez. Just thinking about what that rotation could look like, because people are saying maybe Kopech gets moved to the bullpen. I want to go to what you brought up on pregame about Rick Hahn talking about Kopech after we read the Ethan Katz thing about Kopech moving to the bullpen, because it doesn't seem like Kopech is going to be moving to the bullpen. Ethan Katz said, moving Michael Kopech to the bullpen late in the season to ease his workload isn't in the cards. No, it's nothing we've discussed. Obviously, in September, with expanded rosters, we can do great things to give him a break, but right now he's starting. So it sounds like the plan until September will be Michael Kopech in the starting rotation, but maybe, like you were saying, he gets a couple more days of rest if they're able to acquire a veteran like Quintana or someone of that ilk.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a great question from Jesus Shuttlesworth there. That is, what is what is the point of getting a 5th starter, or a 6th starter, I should say, if the rotation is full? And that's a good question. I don't think that Jose Quintana replaces anybody in this current 5-man rotation. I don't think they have a 6-man rotation. Tony La Russa has never wanted to do that this year specifically. it would be insurance, and it would be high-priced insurance, perhaps, but that's what it would be. Because, listen, we saw last year, going down the stretch, not only is there that second-half IL stint that you said for Carlos Rodon, but both Lucas Giolito and Lance Lynn went on the IL in the second half of last season. It's something that certainly could happen, and you don't want to throw all your eggs in the five-man basket with nothing else to back it up. Now, certainly Davis Martin has done a very good job filling in when he's been called on. Is he the guy that you would trust down the stretch if you're in a pennant race and you're trying? We talked about earlier in the pregame show. What if the season comes down to the final 9 games where 6 of them are against Minnesota? What if one of your starting pitchers is injured and you've got to throw Davis Martin in one or more than one of those final 9 games? So that's nothing against Davis Martin, but maybe you want somebody with a little bit more reliability, someone who has a track record like Jose Quintana. Again, that seems to be a name that might be a little high priced for the role that we're describing. The as you said it, the Vince Velasquez role, the one he was supposed to be in, but. You want to guard against the possibility of, being, without a paddle, so to speak. And this is maybe the guy that they look at because they've had such a history with him before. So there are not a lot of trades maybe in terms of big names that the White Sox could pull off given their farm system. But Jose Quintana with the Pirates is perhaps somebody that they could make a package that the Pirates would be interested in taking.
Right. And I'm seeing the people talking about Jose Quintana has got pretty much lucky this whole year. That's not true. If we're looking at fielding independent pitching, he's actually at a 3.70 ERA, and his fielding independent pitching is 3.27. So he's been pitching well enough and not deep into games. So this is why I think the White Sox would be getting him more for a long reliever / spot starter / another lefty in the bullpen besides Tanner Banks, because you don't know where Aaron Bummer is. Yes, I would love for him to get a more proven lefty reliever, but Q works. I don't think he would break the bank as far as prospects going on the other way.
Well, why can't you do both, too?
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not an either-or thing, guys. Right. And I see people like, oh, I would like a right fielder. Yes, me too. I've been asked for that forever. They can do all these things, guys. So getting Q doesn't preclude them from getting anybody else. So it will be a solid pickup. Don't besmirch the great name of Jose Quintana in front of me.
People saying it's a cheap trade and stuff like that. He's had 11 starts where he's gone 5 innings and allowed 3 earned runs or less. And that's what we've talked about with Johnny Cueto. That is all you need to do to give this White Sox offense enough to win this game.
Well, also, though, we're talking about him being a 6th starter.
Right.
Yeah. It's not – I mean, here's the thing. You want anybody who is suggesting they go get a starting pitcher, okay, who are you going to kick out of the starting rotation? Because, again, I'm not saying that all 5 of the White Sox pitchers are better than every other pitcher in baseball or anybody who's available on the trade market. I'm just saying there are holes on this roster right now, or easier or right field you bring up. Second base people bring up. Certainly the bullpen. These are areas where you need to add stuff because there's a leak there, right? The starting rotation's been good, and I think a lot of people would be pretty happy with those 5 pitchers that the White Sox have right now. Of course, you could get better, of course. But the way it is right now, I wouldn't call it their top priority. Certainly if that's what they want to do is add insurance, you could add insurance that would be far less impressive than Jose Quintana, exactly. I would imagine. So, yeah.
And my thought, too, is Jose Quintana, whose spot on the roster does he take? It's likely Tanner Banks.
It's a bullpen arm.
I'm way more happy with Jose Quintana, who has 10-plus years of major league experience, compared to Tanner Banks, who's been doing this for 4 months. Tanner Banks has gotten great results. So has Jose Quintana so far through this year. And Quintana seems like he's cleaned up some control issues. I see Jesus Shuttlesworth saying, stuff about, Quintana being lucky. You're right about the fielding independent pitching, but also you look at where his pitches were located in 2021. He was sloppy last year. It seems like he's fixed something in 2022. He's a left-hander. The White Sox need a left-hander. This isn't going to be the only move. I see people throwing out Luis Castillo. If they went out and got Luis Castillo, that's the only move they're making, is to go get Luis Castillo because their farm system is so thin. like we said, or like I tried to say on the pregame show, Jose Quintana would be similar to a Cesar Hernandez move, where it might only cost you Connor Pilkington or someone who isn't even in the top 10 of your farm system. This isn't something that should break the bank for the White Sox and its depth for this team. And this is something going back all the way to spring training that Rick Hahn's talked about, pitching depth for this team. It hasn't worked out
all the way to spring
fully.
training.
Yeah.
All the way to every spring training. I mean, and it's not an insult. That's what he says all the time. You can never have enough pitching. You want as much depth as you possibly can get. They've tried to patch things up in ways with guys like Vince Velasquez this spring. You go back to Irvin Santana a few springs ago. I mean, these are the kind of trades that you make to have pitching depth. Heck, Johnny Cueto, you know what I mean? And look what he's turned into. So there have been ones that have worked. There have been ones that haven't worked. Jose Quintana would be some pretty big-name depth. You know what I mean? It's not like he is coming in to take over as the staff ace. My guess is that if they acquired him, he would be a guy who would get occasional starts, not really take anybody's spot. So it's interesting, certainly, to hear Jose Quintana's name. It seems, and I think people are latching onto it because it seems relatively realistic, right? It's not like you're throwing out there, oh, how do they get Juan Soto? Okay, well, they trade every player that they have, and then they get Juan Soto. But certainly, Jose Quintana sounds like a more realistic move that a team that, as you mentioned, has the farm system that they have could make.
Especially the Pirates, too. I mean, the Pirates have no reason to keep Jose Quintana. He's on a one-year deal. Even if he continues to be great for them, he can go sign a contract in the offseason and not be on their team. They're going to get something for them, and as long as that price is reached, and as soon as that price is reached, I think he's off this team. So I don't know. Maybe his next start's supposed to be on Friday.
They're not starting him anymore. It's been said that the Pirates are going to hold him back so they don't, if he doesn't expose them to injuries or anything like that.
Yeah, so. He said he's probable for Friday, so we'll see if he makes that start, or we'll see if they end up pushing him back and seeing if they try to keep him healthy to trade one of their prized possessions in Jose Quintana. Let's move on now, but before we do so, Chicago sports fans, your home for the best Chicago sports coverage is partnering with a leader in sports merchandising and collectibles. CHGO has teamed up with FOCO to secure your access to the best collectibles and gear around. Whether it's Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Bulls, FOCO will have something for you, your kid, a friend, or a loved one. If you're looking to get into some new gear, collectibles, or accessories, FOCO has officially licensed gear for men, women, and kids with everything from bobbleheads to swimsuits to Crocs. Very nice selection of bobbleheads, by the way, on FOCO.com. That's FOCO.com. They got a lot of Tim Anderson ones, some Eloy Jimenez ones. I was thinking about buying some with the promo code we got here and adding it to the set. There's some real nice ones out there. I gotta say, go check out FOCO.com. They have you covered with the best Chicago merchandise of your favorite team. And if you're looking for some Crocs as well, I know Cody Del Mendo is a huge Crocs guy. He loves their Cubs Crocs selection. So anytime you got a birthday coming up, family birthday, go to FOCO.com. If you head over to FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link below in the YouTube description, you can use the promo code CHGO for 10% off all non-presale items. So again, if you head over to FOCO.com or click the link below in the YouTube description, you can use code CHGO for 10% off all non-presale items. People have been talking about Lucas Giolito in the comments. We talk about, hey, maybe Jose Quintana could take Lucas Giolito's spot if he's really bad. We'll see how he is tomorrow. He makes the start. A little up, a little down. What are we expecting from second half Giolito, and is he the most important piece to this White Sox rotation in the second half?
I would say Lance Lynn, because obviously they were without him for the first 2 months of the season, but Lance Lynn really didn't look like himself. Obviously, Lucas has struggled, and certainly from a results standpoint. But I feel like Lucas has been closer, and Lucas has maybe given them certainly more good performances than Lynn had up until this point. Again, most of that is availability, I know. But Lance Lynn is a leader on this team. He is maybe the leader of this team when it comes to the pitching staff. To have him go out there and be the big bastard, so to speak, and bring that attitude along with those results that made him the number 3 finisher in the Cy Young race last year, that would be a big, big deal for this team to have another guy who, like Dylan Cease, could go out there and pitch at a top of the sport kind of level. Certainly we know that Lucas Giolito is capable of doing that. LGLG.
Yes.
Large game Lucas Giolito, of course. But it seems that like Lucas has been close to Lance Lynn really showed something, I think, in that start on Saturday night that, hey, look at this. All of a sudden he could be this for the rest of the season. And if that's the case, then you're talking about really not having to worry too much about this starting rotation going forward.
And you were at the park on Friday after his bad start, right? Or was that Saturday you joined? It's Friday, right?
This past
He was
weekend?
Friday and Saturday. He was at the whole
After
thing.
Lucas's.
Yeah,
Oh,
after
yeah,
Lucas's
on
start.
Friday, yes.
I mean, he talked about how it wasn't the best results, but he didn't feel like he got hit hard, right?
He didn't. I mean, he didn't. You watched the game, and he was getting dinked and dunked. I mean, he was giving up blue hits and stuff like that. It was that the percentages were not helping him out that day in terms of those expected batting averages and whatnot. So I don't think he was too unhappy with the way that the opposing team hit him. But again, you can't give up 9 hits in 3 innings. You just 6 runs in 3 innings. That's the problem. So he knew that, and he knows that it's a results game, and he's trying to go back to make that fix. So he said he feels like he's one adjustment away from making it. I'm sure that's something that a lot of people who have had the results that he's had have said in the past. But listen, he's got Ethan Katz there with him to help him figure it out the way that they both did a few years back. It really looks like, it looks like to me that I don't want to say there's no reason to worry because he's been hit hard at other times throughout the season.
Yes.
But if we're just talking about that last start, that was not one that I think should be overly concerning by itself.
And also, I'm just miffed by people just crapping on the guy as if he doesn't have a long history of being a dominant pitcher. Up until this year, he's done. He wants all this money. Can we give him a little bit more rope just to say, hey, man, Lucas, we believe in you. We've seen it this year where he turns back into the guy we know, the LGLG. I don't know what game that was, or a Minnesota game where he came up big time and performed when the White Sox needed. In the Guardians game, before this last Guardians game, he came up big time and performed well. I think Lucas Giolito will be doing well tomorrow. Now, it's Colorado, his last start where he's getting dinked and dunked by Cleveland. They're just a team that puts bat to ball very well. I don't think the Colorado Rockies will be measuring that at the same level that the Guardians did. So I'm thinking that my guy, Lucas Giolito, which I'm always going to back, goddammit, is going to come out and do some work. And when he does, I'll be right here on this couch telling you that LGLG returned.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Not a great last 5 games for him. 28 innings pitched. He's got a 4.50 ERA, but guys are only hitting 259, 296, 370 versus him. And if you take out the Cleveland game, the last Cleveland game, that's a 2.88 ERA in the last 4 games, and they're hitting 209, 258, and slugging 297 versus him. So the results before that Cleveland game were good, and like we said, he wasn't getting smashed. I don't think he gave up 1 home run to Jimenez down the line, and that was really truly down the line and barely fair for Jimenez. So, we'll see against Colorado. It wasn't like Colorado has the most threatening lineup. It doesn't feel like they have these grindy guys like Cleveland has, and Ramirez and Jimenez and Kwan, right? They don't have these type of guys. Bryant is truly dangerous. Cron's dangerous. But outside of that, this is a team that just put up 1 run against the White Sox.
Never a great year. Come on, Jesus. That's just hate. He said it's had 3 good years, never a great year. Come on now.
Is that true?
No.
It's a high. Well, it's putting a high bar on great. Certainly, I mean the guy has finished in the top 10 or
6?
15 of the Cy Young before multiple times now. So
Top 6 in 2019 and top 7 in 2020.
It's pretty great to me.
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I'll take it. And it's not necessarily Spider Tech. He's pitched without the Spider Tech in the whole second half, and he was better last year than he was in the first half.
I could tell you one thing. Lucas Giolito over the past 3 years has been better than Jose Quintana. So, there you go, Jesus. We've been watching Lucas Giolito and Jose Quintana over the past 3 years. Lucas Giolito, I guess, is better than Jose Quintana. The past 3 years for Giolito outside of this year, 3.47 ERA. For over, basically 425 innings pitched. That's pretty damn good. I would like to find how many guys in the past.
5 F4 in 2019, 4 F4 last year. I mean, 2 in the 2020.
He has a 4.30 ERA with years of being 21, 22, and 23. I don't know. Whatever. We don't need this. All right, let's wrap this up. We got a pregame tomorrow, starting at 1:30. Steven,
right there.
Yeah, I think it's a 2:10 start. I
all
want
right,
to say.
so starting at
Game,
1:30
so
tomorrow, we got Lucas Giolito versus Antonio Senzatella, and let's look at the division here just real quick. So this is the division as it stands. Minnesota's 52-45. Cleveland is 49-47, and they are 2.5 games back. The Sox are now 3 games back. They're 49-48. I do feel like there's a lot of clutter, though, in this lineup. So, Steven, if we can just get rid of Detroit, let's just show what Detroit's up to. This is from Ken Rosenthal today. We can just get rid of Detroit out of the AL Central because
You're
they're
getting
willing
rid
to
of
trade
Detroit. They had one more loss than Kansas City. Same amount of wins. Get rid of Kansas City too.
We're getting to it.
Oh, I see. It's a play-by-play.
The Tigers are willing to trade Tariq Skubal and just about everybody.
It's a screwball.
Thank you, Steven. Wasn't expecting that. So we'll see if Andrew Chafin will become a member of the South Side. That'd be a great left-handed arm to add to the bullpen. And then you mentioned the Royals, Vinny, so let's go to the Royals.
Oh, there we go.
We'll cross off the Royals here. This is a 3-team race here. We don't have to worry about Kansas City and Detroit. And why are we crossing off Kansas City? Well, because Whit Merrifield won't even get vaccinated for his own team. He doesn't even think the Kansas City
he's not
Royals
the only one.
will make the playoffs, right? If he were on a team that was headed to the postseason, he'd get vaccinated. So he's telling you right now that Kansas City is not headed to the postseason.
That's not a principled stance, brother.
There you go.
Just either do it or don't. Don't do. Oh, if I was going to the playoffs, yeah, I'll get a shot. No, stay with your stance. I don't want a shot because I don't know what's in it. Whatever is conspiracy theory you come up with. I'm a healthy athlete. Whatever. But, don't get it if you get traded to another team. That seems like you just go wherever the wind blows.
It probably wasn't a huge debate for him because the Royals, obviously weren't good enough to make it to the playoffs in the past 2 years since 2020. So what's the need to even think about it and debate about it because, he's on a bad team.
Or just human safety.
Well, that's true. That's too much, Vinny. We're just talking about baseball here.
I see.
Anyways, let's wrap this up, and we'll talk about the White Sox and Rockies tomorrow at 1:30 on the pregame show, and we will have a postgame show for you wrapping up the series and tomorrow's game after the final out is made. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's a CHGO White Sox beat writer. That is Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for your production, and thank you to everyone in the chat except for Jesus Shuttlesworth. Knock it off with the Giolito slander. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and thank you to Fleetwood Mac for your 1979 album, Tusk. Goodbye, go White Sox.